In 2004, two Bone and Skull members, John Kerry and George W. Bush, were running for the President of the United States, one a Democrat, one a Republican. But that's not what this story is about. This story is about the junior senator out of Illinois, Barack Hussein Obama, who gave the keynote address at the 2004 Democratic National Convention, where he said there's no blue states and red states, there's no red Americans and blue Americans, there's only one United States of America. And I'm paraphrasing here, but he made a very, very compelling, very charismatic speech. And within 4 years, he'll become the President of the United States. You know, I could start this story about Barack Hussein Obama. August 4th, 1961, when he was born, an 11 life path, Leo Ox. I could talk about this where he was in Indonesia with his adopted godfather, who was the biggest mob boss in Indonesia. I could talk about many aspects of his college life, but we're going to start in 2004. We're going to start when Barack Obama made that keynote address. You go on YouTube, listen. It was a very charismatic, one of the best speeches I ever heard. And then in 2008, it was heir apparent. Hillary Clinton was the next president of the United States. Everyone knew it. Everyone knew Hillary Clinton was the next president. Democrats knew it. Republicans knew it. CNN, Fox News, they all told you the same thing. Hillary Clinton will be the president in 2008. And then all of a sudden, the junior senator out of Illinois, Barack Hussein Obama, started having people from Team Clinton defect to Team Obama. Now, you see, this is something unprecedented because no one ever had the balls to do anything like that to the Clintons. And all of a sudden, their backers are leaving in drones. They don't know what's going on. You see, Hillary Clinton, one of the lead investigators, well, maybe not the lead, but she was one of the investigators in the Watergate trial that brought President Nixon down in the 70s. She was promised the presidency. She was told if she went to Arkansas, a place she hated, if she went to Little Rock, Arkansas, and she married Bill Clinton, then she would get to be a senator. And eventually she'd get to be the president of the United States. That's what they told Hillary Clinton. And Hillary Clinton married Bill, a person she detested because Hillary Clinton is not a heterosexual. She married a sexual deviant, Bill Clinton. She didn't care he slept around with other women because she wasn't sleeping with the guy. She didn't want to go to Little Rock, Arkansas, but she did it. Because when she became the first lady, when Bill Clinton became president, she was the most powerful first lady in American history, at least in modern American history. There's no doubt about it. And then when Bill Clinton, when it was time for him to leave office, when his bridge to the 21st century was complete, well, then Hillary Clinton had to make her political run. And she decided that she was to become the senator from New York. But guess what? There's a guy who had the senator seat in the bag. His name was John F. Kennedy Jr., the son of the assassinated president. And he had the seat in the bag. So what happened? Well, one day, Mr. Kennedy took a flight and it crashed. All of a sudden, Hillary Clinton is now the front runner. Interesting how that works. Really, really interesting how that works. So Clinton becomes a senator in 2000, gets reelected in 2004, just as Barack Obama is giving that keynote speech at the Democratic National Convention. But she doesn't think much of it. She was promised the presidency because, you see, Bill Clinton is an illegitimate bastard son of the Rockefellers, one of the most powerful Illuminati families in the world. She thinks she has it in the bag. And then we go back to 2008. People start defecting. People start defecting. People start defecting. And they're all going to Barack Obama. The Clintons don't know what to do. They fight, but they can't actually assassinate Obama because he's protected by someone else. Someone they didn't know at the time, but they found out later. Barack Obama is protected by the Pinzer family of the Illuminati 13 bloodlines. None other than the Rothschilds themselves. So you see, you can't actually do anything to people like that. They're not regular people like me, you. You can't just make them accident away. Clinton realizes she lost. She makes a deal with Barack Obama. I will support you. I will become your Secretary of State your first term. And then in 8 years, you will support me for President of the United States. The deal was cut in 2008. Flash forward 2016. Well, Obama didn't really do everything he said he was going to do. Let's go back in history. Who is this guy, Barack Obama? Barack Obama is a ruthless politician who is the most important puppet in modern American history. And what I mean by puppet is he answers to the Rothschilds just like the Clintons answer to the Rockefellers. But when you're in a position of power, you still make some moves yourself. And Barack Obama has been making moves and getting his political enemies for decades. Let's start. In 2008, one of the biggest backers the Clintons had was the Reverend Jesse Jackson. Jesse Jackson was loyal to the Clintons. Jesse Jackson said on an open mic he was going to cut Obama's nuts off. Obama never responded, publicly at least. But he did respond in a different way. And the way he responded was, he didn't do anything to Jesse, but he did something to Jesse's kid. He made sure that Jesse Jackson's junior son was arrested for corruption. Now, I want you to understand, every single person in the U.S. Senate could probably be arrested for corruption of some kind. Every single one. Yet, they only arrested Jesse. And the reason they arrested Jesse was because Barack Obama owned Chicago. Just like Mayor Daley used to own Chicago. And Barack Obama gets even. And in this case, getting even means that guy who was talking shit about you, that guy who would not defect and stay with the Clintons, well, now it's time to punish him. And he put his baby boy, an elected person to Congress, he put his son in prison to send a message. That's just one example of many of what Barack Obama did. Want another example? In 2020, there is one mayor of America, and there is also one governor of America. And the rock star governor in America in 2020 was the New York governor, Andrew Cuomo. Whether you're a Democrat or Republican, he was in the spotlight all the time. So much so that he was considered to replace Joe Biden as the Democratic nominee. Because even back then, people knew Joe Biden wasn't quite there. But you see, that was a mistake. Spaces. I want people to know that. I just got thrown out my own space. Barack Obama was not very happy with Governor Cuomo. And he got Governor Cuomo back. How did he get him back? He Me Too'd his ass. Governor Cuomo was forced to step down because of sexual allegations. Do some research about who brought those allegations on, and you're going to see that those staff members who work for Cuomo, who accuse him of sexual misconduct, of sexual harassment, you're going to find that those people worked for Barack Hussein Obama before. You see, Barack wanted Joe Biden in there because he needed a weak president so he could be the shadow president. And he didn't forget Cuomo, who almost tried to destroy his plans. So now I have two examples I've given you of how Barack Obama destroys his political opponents, whether it be Democrats or Republicans. And now, let's go back to 2016. Hillary Clinton is a shoo-in. 17 Republicans are running for the GOP nomination. Jeb Bush, Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio. We're talking about the biggest names in the Republican Party. But guess what? Only one person was mentioned by Barack Obama. When those debates started going in 2015 for the Republican side, only one person was mentioned by Barack Obama, and that was Donald Trump. Donald Trump was not even close to being in first place. But as soon as Barack Obama mentioned him, what do you know? Now he's in first place. And I want you to remember this, because we're going to bring up some other stuff at the very end that's going to connect it to this as well. This is called propping somebody up. You see, Barack Obama came up with this plan in 2011. He had to get rid of the Clintons. Because, see, if Clinton becomes president, all of a sudden, all his influence in the Democratic Party is gone. She controls the Democratic Party. So Barack, while publicly supporting the Clintons, behind the scenes, he's doing everything he can to stop them. And in 2011, it started at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Go back and look at tape. The first person who ever said President Trump was President Obama in 2011, the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Go back on YouTube and take a look. He basically roasted that man, and he put the idea of him in his head for him to run for president. Flash forward 2015, now Donald Trump is running for president, and Barack Obama props his ass up. Now, what does that mean by propping someone up? Propping someone up is a hidden way of making them more popular, more famous. For instance, I have a lot of haters. If I start attacking someone nonstop, My haters who hate me are going to automatically go to this person and start supporting them because they hate me. Same with Barack Obama. Millions upon millions of Americans hate him. All of a sudden, he's talking bad about Donald Trump. Well, guess what? Those millions of people who hate him now are Trump supporters. That's how the game works. And that's exactly what happens. Because Donald Trump won the Republican nomination in 2016 because Barack Obama propped him up. You can go to different times in history. This has been done. Fact, 1 year before World War II started in 1938, the German generals were about to overthrow Hitler. Well, the powers that be couldn't do that. So they made sure British Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain went to Germany, gave Hitler everything he wanted in the Munich Accords. All of a sudden, Hitler's popular. His people love him. The generals can't overthrow him. And next year, 1939, World War II is right on schedule. Propping people up. So now that we established what Obama did, now let's talk about 2016. In 2016, the Russians' so-called election interference. They went into the DNC, they got their records, and they started drip, 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 leaking them to the media. But see, it wasn't actually the Russians who did it. That was actually Team Obama. Team Obama did that because they did not want Clinton to be the president of the United States. Even that when that locker room video of grab him by the pussy came up with Trump, the next day they went harder after Clinton. They blamed the Russians, but it was Obama. Who had the most to gain from it? Barack Obama. And then the nail in the coffin for the Clintons. The nail in the coffin was a couple days before the election. FBI Director James Comey reopened the email investigation of Hillary Clinton. Now, we're talking about the Clintons. We're talking about people who put people in body bags. You think James Comey had enough guts to do that himself? No. He had assurances. And assurances came from Barack Hussein Obama, who told him to reopen the email investigation. And that was the nail in the coffin for the Clintons, and Trump won because of it. Now, what happens? Clinton, who was running the Democratic National Committee, the Democratic National Party, that's the one piece that Obama didn't have. Well, now she's out of there, and it's a clean slate. And now Obama moves all his people in. Now he controls the DNC. Obama already controlled the deep state, which controls the FBI, which controls all the levers of government. And because Obama controlled the deep state, he was able to handicap Trump's presidency from the very beginning. With impeachments, with phony Russia investigations, Ukraine investigations, he basically took a sledgehammer and took it to Trump's presidency knees. He controlled the deep state. For him, it was better for them to have Trump in power because he could hold him in check because he controlled the deep state. But you see, the New World Order agenda was pushed back for 4 years under Trump. 4 years under President Trump, the agenda was pushed back and back and back. And they couldn't have that anymore because President Trump did win the election. But you see, Barack Obama helped him take it in 2016, so he took it away from him in 2020. They installed puppet Joe Biden, and Joe Biden doesn't know what fucking day it is. They made sure to set up his son Hunter Biden with bribe money. So if they ever needed a fall guy, well, for the Ukraine, because you know Ukraine's nothing but a money laundering operation. If they ever need a fall guy, they got Biden and his son. As always, Barack Obama comes out squeaky clean. Obama says he had the most clean, most transparent administration of all time. Lies, Fast and Furious, Solyndra, bunch of corruption. They sent billions of dollars on a plane to Iran. And what happened? Iran kicked back 20 to 40% of that money straight to Obama. Same thing with Ukraine. They're sending money over to Ukraine. They're sending money over to Afghanistan years ago. It's a money laundering operation. Obama's stealing that shit. I can only imagine how much he's stealing. If the U.S. government's sending $900 billion over to Ukraine, he's taking 40% of it. I promise you that. Barack Obama controls the FBI, the deep state. He is the shadow president of the United States. And here's how it works, because Barack Obama is too smart to leave a paper trail. He's not dumb like the Clintons. Barack Obama has Susan Rice, his trusted lackey, go to his house 5 miles outside the White House in Washington, D.C. By the way, Obama's the only former president never to leave D.C. after his presidency left. I wonder why. Do you really need to connect the dots? Or did I just do that for you? Susan Rice goes to the White House, tells Yellen, tells Judge Garland, tells Blinken, all these lackeys what Obama says. Biden doesn't know what day it is. No one pays attention to him. And if Biden ever gets out of hand, well, they're going to do something with Hunter Biden. That's how the game works. Don't you ever get... As a matter of fact, last year, it was actually a year ago today, 4/5/2022, Barack Obama made his first return to the White House. Go back, watch that video, see how scared Biden looks of Barack. He's basically trembling. He's scared of the man because Barack holds all the cards. He mentioned his name 33 times in that speech at the White House that day. Goes to the White House on the 33 day in numerology, mentions his name in the speech 33 times. There are no coincidences. He's telling people he's the shadow president, but it's only now that conservatives are picking up on it, after I've been saying it for years. But what's new, right, guys? What's new? Gary says it first, gets no credit. What's new? Let's move forward. Now that Biden has the presidency and all this stuff is going to get blamed on him, well, they need someone to replace Joe Biden. And that replacement just so happens to be Big Mike, Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama will be the Democratic nominee, and she will be Barack Obama's fourth term. That's the game plan. That's how it works. That's what they want. You're going to see Biden get pushed out, and you're going to see Michelle Obama, who basically went on TV last month and say, well, I can't support this man for 2024, already sending steady hints. Barack Obama at a rally making fun of Joe Biden, setting hints. He's going to throw this guy under the bus. You want some proof? Did you know the White House visitor logs are no longer public? When I visited the Trump White House in December 2020, all the logs are public. Yet when Biden took over, they're not. Why? Because they don't want you to know or ask questions about why Susan Rice, who's not a member of the administration, is there every single day. Because people might start asking questions. Why is Susan Rice there all the time? She's not a member of the administration. They might start connecting the dots that she's coming from Obama's mansion straight to the White House. Why is that? And by the way, the reason I know is because the Secret Service agent told me this. This is the Barack Hussein Obama story from 2004 to 2024, when Michelle Obama is scheduled to be the next one in line, giving Barack a fourth term. Understand this: we have a shadow president that controls every layer of government. No one's exposing Barack on Twitter. Wonder why. Wonder why. Maybe it has something to do with the loan he gave someone a long time ago. Who knows? At the end of the day, I just broke down how Obama used Trump as a pawn to destroy the Clintons and then stole the election from him so he could be shadow president. And now the next part of the plan is for Michelle Big Mike Obama to be the 47th president of the United States. No one else is going to tell you this because few people know about this. And now some people might be asking, well, Gary, if this is all true, are you worried? You just revealed a lot of information. No, I'm not worried at all. Not one bit. Because you see, if this was the 50s and 60s, yeah, they JFK you. But they don't do that anymore. Why? Because who's going to stop them? Who's going to do something about it? Even if millions of people listen to this, what, the FBI is going to do something? That's a joke. No one's going to touch these guys. They don't care if you know anymore. And this is what happens when a country starts rotting at the core from within. You see, back in the 40s and the 50s, people got married at a young age, early 20s. They had kids. And by the time they were 45 years old, some of them already had 20-year-old, 15-year-old kids. Why is that important? Because you see, if someone has kids, especially at a young age, they're not worried about playing video games. They're not worried about doing dumb shit. They're not living for today. They are living for tomorrow. If you have kids, you're living for tomorrow. You are concerned about tomorrow. And if enough families are like that, if the family unit is held in check, then government gets held in check. But that's not the case anymore. Broken families. 40% of women who raise kids are in poverty because they're single mothers. Kids grow up unloved. So many problems within the nuclear family. No one's looking at the government. No one is going to hold the government accountable. And at the end of the day, they know that. So no, I am not worried about anything. Especially with information like this, because no one's going to do anything about it. Barack Hussein Obama is not only the most charismatic world leader since John F. Kennedy, who was also born on the 29, 29 11, just like Obama's an 11. He's the most powerful puppet leader, and the only reason I say puppet is because the Rothschilds control ultimate power. But he is the most powerful politician in modern American history. He controls all the levers of power. And now you understand what the media won't tell you. Now you understand what your conservatives, what your liberals, whoever you follow, they don't know anything about this. But now you do. I implore everyone, retweet this. Make sure people listen to this. Because even though we might not be able to do anything about it, It's always better to know what's going on than to be a deer in headlights. This has been Barack Obama's story. The secret story that no one wants you to know. The secret story that isn't so secret anymore. This has been a GG33 production.